Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. Let's start with a team you're near and dear to, the Philadelphia Eagles. So they did it on the ground, in the air. They beat the Jags 28-23, although Jacksonville with a massive late-game comeback. Trevor Lawrence, one got a little loose on him. He threw a pick in the end zone. You know, my takeaway on this is I'll go back to saying this. Jalen's not making the mistakes, and Saquon Barkley's absolute, with Christian McCaffrey not playing yet, Barkley's the best running back in the league. And I think with Jalen Hurts, as they win today, my take is they've gotten him out of the position where I don't feel like he's ad-libbing or out of control. Like I thought Jordan Love today for the Packers was out of control multiple times. I kind of think Philadelphia's figured out kind of the way to use Jalen. What do you see?
Well, I think Saquon's definitely changed their team. I mean, he's been him and Derrick Henry. You talk about additions this offseason. Those two guys. I mean, Derrick Henry was probably a Hall of Fame player before this. Now he cemented himself. I mean, there's no one's ever questioned Saquon's talent. I mean, what would Penn State do to have that guy right now on their team? I mean, they would not have an offensive weapon. But to me, I mean, the only reason that game was close was Sirianni and Kellen. I'm not quite sure what was going on there with some of the play calling.
Yeah.
They, instead of kicking a field goal,
I didn't get
decided
that.
not to do the tush push, and they roll him out, and he's got nowhere to go. Like right now, their offense, I mean, A.J. Brown, which is a pretty big deal, not maybe in this game, but I guess they play the Cowboys next week, so not in that game either, but in 2 weeks against Washington, his presence for them to beat really good teams is a must-have. But when you're playing a team like today, Devontae Smith, what a draft pick. I mean, I thought, wait, this guy's going to be 175 pounds and dominating the NFL.
I didn't think he would last in this league.
How about his one-handed touchdown catch?
Oh, my
in the back
God.
of the end zone? So you add Saquon to him. I mean, the guy that had the game-winning interception to Kobe Dean. I mean, they have a lot of young defensive players. The last couple of weeks, Nolan Smith has been all over the quarterback. Like, I trust Vic Fangio. To me, it just gets down to Sirianni, who, if they had lost today, Colin, to Doug Peterson and the Jags, who they had fired, do you know who? I mean, Embiid would have been let off the hook because it would have been a Sirianni. You cannot lose that game. And it got weird. Obviously, the freak Saquon fumble, but
yeah,
it's a little too close for comfort given how well their top guys were playing.
Well, yeah, I mean, Barkley was great. Jalen went like 18 of 24, 230 yards, no interceptions. Their receivers that were on the field were excellent. They actually, I mean, they had 450 plus yards of offense, 6.5 yards per play. They were great on third down. They dominate time of possession. And you look up and you're like, you're at home and it's 28-23.
Well, they were up 22-0, right? It looked like they were going to blow them out 40-10 or something.
Yeah, I just feel like I kind of feel like this is the rare instance, and I felt this a couple of years ago with Detroit, but I've come to terms with Ben Johnson, the coordinator for the Lions. I really didn't trust Dan Campbell. I do now. I think he has grown. I think he's a little less emotional now. I also think he realizes he's no longer hunting. He's being hunted. They're the favorite. I think like today, they got a lead. They got real smart. They got real conservative. It was really, really smart Lions football. I feel like Sirianni's like Dan Campbell a couple years ago. He's still trying to prove himself. I want to show you guys how smart I am. And then when you make mistakes, like yelling at the crowd and get your hand slapped by the owners, then you kind of double down on, I want to show how smart I am. And I just think with Dan Campbell, I've seen growth. I do think he's a better, more mature coach today. And with Sirianni, I think they're going to get to the playoffs, and I think they're going to have all these weapons and outplay people, and I think they're going to lose to a really smart, efficient team.
Yeah, I think in 2 weeks, Colin, I was looking at the schedule this week doing podcasts, and they play the Cowboys this upcoming week. So, I mean, they can put a nail in it, completely end their season.
Right.
Thursday night, so this upcoming Sunday, and then the following Thursday, they play Washington. And I think we all agree, I mean, Washington played the Giants today. That game wasn't even a game. But the talent on the two teams, the Eagles have a better roster. I mean, we all thought that at the Chicago game. Like, Chicago has the better roster. But Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, they have been, talk about a tandem, a head coach, offensive coordinator tandem, rookie quarterback. All the pressure in that game in 2 weeks, or less than that, 10 days, is on the Eagles. So when they play Washington twice in Philly and at Washington, it's 100% on Philadelphia. I mean, Washington is going to be a playoff team, but they're playing with house money. If they were to win the division, it would be one of the most incredible accomplishments we've ever seen. So the pressure on Sirianni, if it's a tight game, does he do one of those things where he doesn't kick a field goal and they get stuffed? They kind of don't trust the tush push, as you know, it didn't work a couple times in this game.
Didn't work. Yeah.
So to me, you're paying your kicker a lot of money. I know he missed a kick, but like he's going to make most of them. Like kick field goals, they do matter at the end of the game. Like they could have lost today because they had kind of given their way to going forward on 2 points and not kicking field goals. So yeah, Sirianni's the biggest wild card in the league because there's no disputing when healthy the talent on that squad.
When all your marketing team does is put out fires, they burn out fast, sifting through leads, creating content for infinite channels, endlessly searching for disparate performances, KPIs, all takes a toll. But with HubSpot, you can stop team burnout in its tracks. Plus, your team can achieve their best results without breaking a sweat. With tools like the built-in Breeze AI, pinpoint the best leads possible, capture prospects' attention with click-worthy content, and access all your company's data in one place. No sifting through tabs necessary. It's all waiting for your team in HubSpot. Keep your marketers cool. Make your campaign results hotter than ever. Visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. All right. Atlanta beats the Cowboys 27-21. So if you didn't watch this game, I could sum it up with the multiple false starts, the 9 penalties for Dallas, too many men on the field on a 4th down. Atlanta basically got out-rushed, out-passed, but Dallas was so bad on 4th down, so many penalties, so inefficient. And Kirk Cousins just goes out 19-24, doesn't make any big mistakes. Like Atlanta's not physically impressive, but Atlanta's really efficient because they brought Kirk Cousins in, who just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He gets you in and out of plays. When I watched Dallas today, Mike McCarthy's frustration with, I mean, when you have Dak Prescott, and you're a veteran team, you can't have false starts, illegal motions. Like, I feels like to me that is so much on the quarterback. Now, he left and Cooper Rush came in, but I had said before the year, this was one of my, I guess I'm actually wrong on this. I said Dallas won't make the playoffs. It'll be Philadelphia and Washington in that division. It will begin a slight regression. John, they may be a bottom 4 team in the league, and I'm dead serious. They're better than the Raiders because of Dak, and Cooper Rush. I think they're better than Carolina, probably better than New Orleans now. They weren't in week 2. Dallas is a bad football team without a lot of good players.
Yeah, I thought coming into this week, we were going to learn, like, are they just going to end up sucking all season and being a 5 or 6 win team? Or are they going to have a little heart and battle and, at the end of the year be 8-9, but have shown some mettle throughout the year? I think they're headed toward 5 or 6 wins now. And today, didn't it symbolize before the game even kicked off, they left Zeke back at home?
Yeah.
All I had heard from Cowboys people is, listen, we know he doesn't have as much, but the leadership, the camaraderie, him and Dak are close. And then these stories about he never shows up on time, he's disgruntled. It's like, well, then why is he on the team? And is that a little, I'm not putting this all on Dak, but isn't that Dak's one of his best friends? Like, so what do we got going on there? And then as the game goes on today, it was a reflection of they don't have that much talent. I mean, how often did today, even on like just random innocuous plays, Bijan in space out in the flat and 3 guys would whiff and he'd get 8 yards that should have been 1.
Listen, John, on a 4th and 1, they have so little talent in the backfield. On a 4th and 1, they had to use deception on a like a jet sweep to CeeDee Lamb.
Now, it worked. Didn't even.
Yeah, it worked about 20 minutes later, same play. But on a 4th and 1, with a very strong quarterback, Zach Martin, one of the great guards ever, they had to get clever and tricky. They have no run game. One of the easiest predictions anybody could have made going into this season is Dallas would have the worst running back room in the league. I mean, we watched Zeke in New England. He can't. He's done. It's over. They made no moves. It's remarkable. Now, I'm not saying Derrick Henry would be as good as we've talked about in Dallas as Baltimore. You start looking at, I've said before the season, if CeeDee Lamb twisted an ankle, it's the worst offense in the league. I mean, I watched them today and I'm like, it was just all a cotton candy yards. I mean, Atlanta was so much smarter, more efficient, good on third down.
I was playing golf the other day with a diehard Cowboy fan. This guy's been to countless games over the last 30 years. And I asked him, do you think Dak Prescott's better than Tony Romo? And you were always one of Tony's biggest defenders.
Yeah.
And he said, I would have told you 4 or 5 years ago, yes, but at this point in time, you can't watch these games up until Tony's back when he was a more dynamic playmaker.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And in 21, 22, and even last year, those teams were so good. I mean, in 21 and 22, the Cowboys were really good. I mean, they had a home playoff game. They were toe-to-toe with the Niners in the second round. And Dak didn't just have one bad play. Like, he was atrocious through most of those games. So I think, listen, this is not his fault. In terms of the pie chart, 100%, if they go 6 or 7 or maybe 5 wins. But he has kind of crumbled. Like, he has not been an elevator. Talk about trailers and tractors. Clear where he falls. And honestly, today was just an embarrassing day for the organization. I mean, I think Mike's hands were on it. Jerry's hands were on it. Because the Zeke thing to me symbolizes, I thought that moment, I thought the Bears benching the guy for like 2 series. Like, this is not Little League or high school. We're not teaching life lessons. You either leave him at home and make him inactive to show like this will never be tolerated, or you just start him. Like, this is a business. We're trying to win or lose. I would have made him inactive to show everyone, just like the Cowboys did. Zeke, you're not showing up. But there's no middle ground. This isn't high school football where it's like, you're going to sit out the first series or 2. Like, that to me is so dumb. I mean, that's embarrassing at the highest level. It just, that's why, certain teams lose, and obviously the same teams consistently win over and over.
Time for our segment called Making It Look Easy, brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Joe Burrow made it look easy against the Raiders. I thought this would be closer. Burrow, 5 touchdowns, 250 yards. Vegas is toast. Burrow hit 4 different receivers for touchdowns. Cincinnati's first home win of the year. Believe it or not, just like Joe made it look easy, so does Morgan & Morgan. So easy to submit a claim. Over 100 offices nationwide, Morgan & Morgan has over 100 offices nationwide, more than 800 lawyers, and over the years, proven track record, fighting for you. They have claimed over $15 billion for their clients. Morgan & Morgan, fighting for the people for over 35 years. If you're ever injured, go to forthepeople.com/Colin or dial pound 529. Check out America's largest injury law firm. Winning in the NFL is hard. Hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy.